I got into Dungeons and Dragons back in 2014 when 5th edition came out. I was about 22-ish, and the guy that I was dating at the time, because this was before I figured out I was gay, the two of us decided that we wanted to get into D&D together. I had some friends who were getting into D&D, and so he went online and started looking up like the best D&D to get into and stuff like that, and what he found was that like 4th edition was the most recent, but nobody liked it. Everybody really liked 3.5 edition instead, apparently. So he got the stuff for 3.5, and then almost immediately the stuff for 5th ed came out. So I don't know if he just somehow missed everything about 5th edition, or if they just didn't announce 5th edition until like right before it came out, but that's what happened. Oops. I don't remember the exact details. It was 2014. I don't fucking remember. But anyways, so shortly after that, we started playing together at a friendly local game store, and I had some friends who were playing there, but in a different group. And we played together there for a bit, and even after we broke up, I continued going to that game store, and I played there for like 4 years. I was at different tables with different DMs, different groups, different campaigns, all kinds of stuff. Eventually I got into the same group as my friends, which was nice. But yeah, so I played, like I say, I played there for about, I want to say it was about 4 years that I played at that game store specifically. It was every Wednesday night from 5 to 9 every week for like 4 years. So it was a lot. But eventually I wound up getting into kind of an argument with my friends about fighters. And people were talking about how boring fighters are, and all they do is hit stuff, and like they're not very interesting, and so on. And I was of the opinion that like, no, fighters aren't boring. Fighters do a lot of hitting stuff, but like you can make any character interesting. There are no boring classes, there are only boring characters. If you think your fighter is going to be boring, then like, yeah, they're going to be boring because you've made them boring. So when we were starting our new campaign, I set out to make a fighter character who was on paper like the most boring generic character to ever exist. She was a lawful good human fighter with a noble background. Her name was Lady Marlena Lucretia Hightower, and that is who is being drawn on the screen for you right now. And her whole thing was she was very good. She liked to follow the rules and help people, and she was very lawful good. She was very protective. I gave her the protection fighting style, and because that was her whole thing, was she wanted to help people. She wanted to keep people safe, and so on. And so that was a way to like work that into the mechanics of the character and so on. And so I played Marlena for a while. I can't remember exactly how long. I made up a lot of stuff for her. Like, the DM that I played her with originally, I say originally, I'll get to that. He was very impressed with me. He referred to me several times as one of the strongest role players that he'd ever been with, which was really nice of him. But like, I made a fucking family tree for her that went back like 4 generations. I made a Hightower family coat of arms. Which has since changed. I made a Hightower family code of chivalry that I like taped to the inside of my folder so that I could refer back to it at any point, for the core concepts of the character sort of thing. Like I made all this whole thing for her, and I did a lot of work with her character, and then she died. because we had a TPK. We got killed by a bunch of trolls in a swamp. And the only one who survived was the ranger because he ran away, which we all yelled at him for. But anyways, so we had this TPK and Marlena died and I was very sad. And eventually I ended up leaving that group and the game store in general for unrelated reasons. It had nothing to do with the TPK. That's honestly that whole scenario is an entire video in and of itself. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about Marlena. So I eventually left that store and I started playing in a different game. My brother at the time was a looking to start DMing. He'd made up this whole like fantasy homebrew world and so on, and he had some ideas, but he was having a hard time finding a place to play. He wanted to play at the game store, but there was literally no space, and so he started playing online with some folks, people we knew from either real life or other games we played online. And so we started playing together in November of 2018. It is now January of 2021. And we are winding down that game. We have been playing the same game for like 2 years. We've been playing the same game, the same characters, the same campaign, the whole thing. And honestly, it is probably the best TTRPG experience I've ever had. Like the people, we just all click, like everyone's characters are really cool and I love them. We've had some really good character moments. We've had some really good like roleplay stuff. Everybody in the group kind of wants the same thing out of the game, and it's just a really positive environment to be in when like everybody is on the same page with what they want. Like that's so important in RPG groups, and it's something that you don't find as often as you should probably. But anyways, it's so nice. And like I say, we are like 2 years into the game and we're just beginning to wind down. We have, by my brother's calculations, we have about maybe 5 sessions left. We're very, very close to the end. And like, on the one hand, that's kind of scary because we've been playing this game for 2 years. But on the other hand, it's also really cool. Like it's neat for me to have Marlena is by far my longest running Dungeons and Dragons character. Like even outside of the fact that Marlena 1.0 happened, she's my longest running D&D character because I've played her in the same campaign for two full years plus extra. And like that's honestly kind of insane for me. She's a fun character to play. I do actually really enjoy playing fighters. Like the joke is that like, oh, fighters only do one thing and it's hit with stick, and they just do that a bunch of times until the enemy is dead. But like I really do like doing that. I really do enjoy just like, okay, I have a plus fucktillion to hit, smack. I'm gonna hit you like 3 times in a turn. Plus I get an extra bonus attack because of my Cavalier abilities, and here we go. She's also just really fun to play because we have 2 other, like she's a like noble with the, she like basically she's a knight. She's got this whole like chivalry situation going on here and whatever. But also she clashes a little bit with, like, we have 2 other characters in the group who are both, you know, one of them is part of organized crime and the other one is a pirate. And so we've had some really interesting, like, some culture clashes. We've had some really interesting, like, I still think about it. This happened at like level 4. We are level 18 right now, but I still think about like the conversation that she and the rogue had about like their conflicting ideologies and whether they were going to be able to like function together in the group. They just kind of sat down at a bar that they happened to be staying at and just had this serious conversation, and it was just really nice. It was so fucking cool. I did still do a lot of character work with this version of Marlena. I like to refer to the other version as Marlena 1.0. And this is the modern Marlena. But with this version, I did still do a lot of character stuff. I didn't do like the full code of chivalry and and all that. I did make her family coat of arms. As you can see, it is a horse. So that we've got the horse rampant on a red field, I think is what the term is, and then there's the purple stripe. I actually did at one point know like what that meant in like with like heraldry symbolism and whatever, but the only thing I can remember off the top of my head is that purple represents royalty, which is like her family has served the royal family of Talliers for generations, and so I put that in there. Her family also has also been cavaliers for generations, so hence the horse. But so I put a lot of thought into that whole thing. She's her main attribute is that she is very strong. She's very, very strong, and she uses her strength to help people all the time. She has a magic item called Bro's Belt of Lifting, which you can see as is her belt, which gives her advantage on strength checks if she has to lift something. It's a very silly little homebrew item that my brother came up with. But it's fun. And so she's very, very strong, and her main thing is that she's very protective. Like she's always, like I said before, she's always trying to protect people. I gave her the protection fighting style. I made her the Cavalier subclass because it has also a lot of abilities and stuff that help you to protect your allies and kind of force the enemy to focus on you instead of your friends. And so that's kind of her thing, is that she wants to protect other people. So she will be the one who, comes in and stops the bad guy and takes the big hits and whatever, so that other people don't have to, because she knows she can handle it. She has a fucking 20 AC with her shield, and I think now she finally at level 18, she now has over 200 hit points. So she can take a lot of punishment that a lot of her friends just can't. So she wants to protect people. She also wants to protect random people that she doesn't know. Like, she's definitely gotten the gang involved in some stuff that probably was against party's best interest, but it's just like, no, this person needs our help, so we have to go help them. She's very much one of those. I like her a lot. in case you hadn't noticed, I like Marlena a lot. She's one of my favorite D&D characters to play. In terms of aesthetics, I kind of based a lot of her design on Keladri of Mindallan, however that's pronounced, the protagonist of Tamara Pierce's Protector of the Small series, which is also kind of where I got her whole protection thing from. I based a lot of her aesthetic off of her, and in fact I actually use a picture of Kel from one of her the cover of one of her books as Marlena's token in Roll20. And it's just like, no, this is just what Marlena looks like. It's face claim. But yeah. So that's kind of where a lot of her aesthetics came from. One of the things that I wanted her to be was I wanted her to be fairly plain. Like, I didn't necessarily want her to be like really like glamorous or anything like that. I wanted her to be just kind of this plain looking person who, like, kind of unassuming. Like, you probably wouldn't really spare her a second glance if it wasn't for the fact that she's like fucking huge. She's like 6'3" and jacked and walking around in this full clanky ass plate armor. But like, that's the thing that you notice, is that she's big and she's loud. She's not like, she's not really much to look at. Like if she's in like a nice dress or whatever, it's just kind of like, and that's somebody over there. Cool. Oh, and the last thing I forgot to mention about Marlena that makes her really fun is she does have a magic talking longsword named Thunderbite. And he's fun because he just yells. He yells about everything all of the time. He's one of my favorite NPCs. He's always out here wanting to smite evil and beat the crap out of bad guys and whatever. And like, at first Marlena was like, okay, we need to tone this down a little. And now she's like, you know what? Fuck it. The world is ending and I'm tired, and I'm just gonna take my loud talking sword, who is my best friend now, and we're gonna just beat the crap out of the various bad guys coming our way. And it's great. I love it, and it's fucking great. I love this game so goddamn much, and I'm gonna be really sad when it's over, but it'll also be good to move on to do other stuff. But it is gonna be a little weird after 2 years of playing this character with this group to turn around and be like, okay, I guess I have to play somebody else now. It's gonna be hard to say goodbye to Marlena, but I think it's gonna be good. Alright, so this is the final piece. I think she turned out pretty well. I kind of wish I could have put her shield as well, but I just couldn't really figure out a way to put that in the drawing without it looking weird. I'm like covering up half of the picture. She does have a shield though. She's a sword and board fighter. But yeah, I think the drawing came out all right. As of this recording, I still haven't actually shown it to my DM or my D&D group. So, whoops, I'll do that later. But yeah, this is my longest running Dungeons and Dragons character, and I'm really happy with how she turned out. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day or night or whatever, and I'll see you all again another time. Bye now.